Hello everybody. I'm trying a bit of a different angle today. We'll see whether or not I like that. We're having some extremely hot days. I haven't left the house. It's like 33 degrees, which is extremely hot for Germany. And yeah, not really getting that much stuff done. But I have written a little list. With my kind of literary goals, my goals that I have as a reader and also as a book collector, because I'm starting to see myself also as a book collector. I've seen some other people do this. I think the first person to do this was probably Maria from Strange Lucidity. And some other booktubers have done similar things. And yeah, I just compiled a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kind of like goals, or I guess some of them you could call challenges, or just stuff I would like to achieve. Kind of my reading bucket list, my bookish bucket list. That's a good name. And I ranked them by achievability. So kind of how likely it is for me to actually achieve them. And yeah, let's go through them. The first goal for me as a book collector is to own a signed copy of one of my favorite authors. And I rated this 10 out of 10 because I already achieved that. I'm not gonna tell you who it is yet. I don't have it yet, but I ordered it. But I'm very, very excited for that, and you'll see it in an upcoming book haul. So yeah, that's already done. We can check it off on my little bucket list. That's lovely. Next up, this is kind of an overarching goal that I had for many years, and it's to own a library. Officially, if you have 1,000 books, that counts as a private library. And I think I'm a little under halfway there. Yeah, I haven't counted my books in a while, but I think I own somewhere between 450 and 500. Maybe I'll count them for a video sometime. But yeah, I rated it 9 out of 10 because I am gonna achieve that at some point. It's probably just gonna take me a long time. And I also want to read my library. I could just spend all my money on buying books and probably own 1,000 books in a year, but what would that, if I have 500 unread books, that's not really kind of what I want to do. So own a library and read it, 9 out of 10. My next goal is to read every literary work published by a variety of authors. And as of now, I'd like to read everything published by Hermann Hesse, Fyodor Dostoevsky, Franz Kafka, and Anna Kavan. I ranked this a vague 8 out of 10 because it really depends on your definition. For example, Hesse published a lot of stuff in newspapers that are unattainable. That's like, there would be like a lifetime goal to collect everything he has written. That I'm pretty sure that's impossible. But every all of his novellas, all of his novels, all of his letters, and that kind of stuff, that is probably pretty much possible. And for Hesse, I think I'm on a pretty good way. I probably read, I'd say, 80% of the novels or novellas he published. And I don't know if I'll stretch out that goal for letters as well. For Dostoevsky, I haven't really read a whole lot, but I own a lot of unread stuff. But with the size and the length of his novels, that is going to take me many years to achieve. For Kafka, I read like probably 90%. That's probably the author I read the most. He also didn't write a whole lot. But yeah, some of the stuff, like the little booklets that he wrote in, that stuff can be pretty hard to find, and it's in all sorts of different collections, so it's pretty hard to get an overview of what you haven't written yet. Written? What you haven't read yet. And yeah, for Anna Kavan, until recently, it was very hard to even attain any of her works here in Germany. But now, with as much as I hate Amazon, Amazon made it possible to get some of her work. And yeah, this is kind of a vague goal. I don't know if I'll ever really say I achieved it, because the authors on this list are gonna change and extend, and it's just some authors I just love so much that I would like to read everything that they have written. My next goal is to read the complete In Search of Lost Time, which I have right on the shelf on top of me. Marcel Proust, according to some people, one of the greatest works of our time. I read an excerpt of it, which is right here. This is, I can remember if it's, I think it's part of the second novel. It's, A Swan's Way. It might be the second part of the first novel. Anyway, I read that one and I didn't love it. But I'll definitely give it a chance. This is a pretty big project. It's usually 7 novels. I have the complete. I found. I was in a used bookshop in Saarbrücken, which is right on the other side of Germany, and I saw it in the window. The complete In Search of Lost Time, and I immediately bought it for I think like 45 euros or something, and it's a 10-book volume. So yeah, but I haven't. That was like almost 2 years ago, and I haven't read it so far. So but I rated it a 7 out of 10 because I'm eventually gonna do it. I might just take my time with it. Maybe I'll take a whole year, as a yearly project, to read all of those books. Next up is kind of a reading challenge, which I decided to do quite recently, and that is to read every Nobel Prize winner since they started giving that prize. I recently looked through a list of Nobel Prize winners, and I realized that I read quite a lot of them. I didn't know Günter Grass won a Nobel Prize, but I read a whole lot of them. I read Hesse, I read Mann, I read Beckett, I read Grass, and I realized that would be, some booktubers also do that. They try to they try to read every winner of a certain prize, and I just recently bought another one of Han Kang's books, which I'll also show you in my next book haul. And I was like, yeah, man, I already read probably like at least 20% or maybe even more of Nobel Prize winners. So that is something that I'd like to catch up to, and I'll have a new author to read every year also. Yes. So my next goal. These are becoming a bit harder to achieve now. My next goal is to own a first edition of Kafka or Hesse, which I was looking through some time ago. I was looking through signed copies of those authors, and they do exist. But if I'll ever inherit $1 million from an unknown relative or something, then I'll probably buy one. But these go for multiple thousand euros, and the first editions still go for a lot of money, but it's definitely more realistic that I'll someday be able to afford one of those. Haven't really actively looked for one yet, but that is definitely something that I'd someday have in my collection. I rated this 4 out of 10 because this I would say, is something that is not for certain that I'm ever gonna achieve, but I'm definitely gonna be on the lookout for it, and I'm probably gonna have one day. Yeah, the next one is kind of the biggest one, I would say, and that is to publish my own novel. Who would have thought? I've never really talked about this, but I've been into writing for quite a long time. I haven't really been actively doing it a lot, but when I was a teenager, I wrote a lot of poetry slam text. I was really into slam poetry. I went like at least once a month. I went to my local poetry slam, and also in this little book right here, I have a lot of like old text from like 8 years ago or something, or even longer ago. And yeah, this is something that I'd like to do. And I did start write. I have had a concept for a novel, and I started writing it a couple years ago, and then my hard drive crashed and I lost everything. And I rewrote it, and now it's I think I have like 10 Word document pages, so that's probably like 20 pages. And I kind of stopped working on it for a while with, my master's degree and stuff like that. But that's definitely something that I'd like to keep working on in the future. And, you can publish your own novel on Amazon Fulfillment, but I don't want to be affiliated with Amazon, and also that feels kind of cheap. So I would like to publish my own novel in a real publishing house, like with a real publisher, which makes it way harder to do, obviously. But yeah, that is my goal. I rated it 3 out of 10 because I think, I think the writing itself I can definitely do. I even have a friend who like proofreads books, who's a lector, and this is something that I know I can definitely achieve if I put the work in. But it's gonna be pretty hard, and it's gonna take a long time, and it's probably gonna cost me a lot of energy and sweat and money. But that's like one of my biggest bucket list things in my life, is to publish my own novel, to be a published author. Alright, now we're getting into a bit like the dreamy territory. I'd like to read a book from every country. The booktuber Emmy, she's doing that. She's doing the what is it called? The World Tour Book Club, I think. And they're reading books from every country, like slowly with no pressure. And I like that, but I do think it's actually impossible because especially a lot of poor countries or smaller countries, they don't even have books published in, like translated books published in English or German that much, maybe. And even if I find one, if a small, like, one of these little Pacific Island countries or the Caribbean countries, if they have books published in English, a handful of them, then that doesn't, if I'm not interested in the book, then I'm not gonna read it just because. And so yeah, Laila Lalami, who wrote the introduction for Season of the Migration to the North by Tayeb Salih, also said that sometimes publishing houses and translators are not very much interested in translating books from, for example, Arab countries or African countries, just because in the Western world it's not popular. There's definitely some structural racism at play there, but yeah, it might not be possible to read a book from every country. So yeah, that is a goal that is more of a maybe, but I'll still read books from as many countries as I can, as like a long-term lifetime goal, I guess. And the last goal is to read my whole entire TBR pile, and I rated it 0 out of 10 because I don't see that happening ever, because for the last 3 years it's really only been growing. I just last month I bought 30 books, which it's gonna take me like 4 months to read that many books. So I think I keep track of that. I think I'm at 147 books, which is almost exactly the same that it's been at like 2 years ago. So yeah, but that is more of a, I don't even really want to run out of stuff to read, but it would feel nice to shrink that pile down a little bit. But yeah, anyways, I think that's been it. I'll do a video when my very special signed copy arrives, which should be at the end of the month. Yeah, can't believe I've done that, man. That was so expensive, but yeah. Also, I'm so excited for it. So stay tuned if you want to see that. It's hopefully gonna be here in like 2 weeks or something. So yeah, thank you very much. Goodbye. Love you. See you in the next one.